please see the link in this episode's description for a trailer for an element of Pugilism. And there is a Z-Fest like contest going on, so do with that as you will. I'm a libertarian. I want you to choose what you want to choose.
No, I mean, don't you want people to like us? That's the whole point of it.
I want people to like us for us, not because they feel like...
Because we told them to?
Yeah, we're informing them.
Sure.
And then they can make their own decision.
Well, please click the link and click like.
Thank you.
You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show.
Welcome to Movie Baiters with the Farx brothers.
Wow, that was a big pause.
You're welcome. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kirk, right in the middle of my sip.
I planned it that way. And this week, we're with somebody who said Kirk is a shit smirker right before we started. Chelsey, do you like to be an actor first? Or I know you have credits as a producer, cinematographer, and writer now. So which one goes first? Is it actor or actress?
Actor, yeah.
Okay.
You can call me whatever you'd like. I just don't love it when people correct me. But they're like, don't you mean actress? It's really funny, but sure, whatever you wish. I call myself an actor, but I don't really mind whatever people call me.
Performer of screen and stage, Chelsey Grant.
Heck yeah, sure. I'll take it.
I don't have the notes up, so I'm going to bring up Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Wait, no, actually, I'm going to get to Stevens Point because I wanted to ask you about it. I know it because I played them in, I think, football, and I swam against them. But I know you were there for college, not high school.
I was.
Your sister had a baby?
Yes, she did. She just had a baby March 1st.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, it's been awesome. I love being an aunt. It's my second nephew, and she lives real close. And so while she was at the hospital with my brother-in-law waiting for the new nephew, I was taking care of the 2-year-old nephew with my mom. And it's been cool to see him starting to adapt to the new environment with a crying, pooping, constantly hungry baby in the house. So yeah, I'm excited. It's really fun.
How much older is your older nephew from your now newer nephew?
He's 2, and the baby is a week? 2 weeks?
It's almost 2 weeks. It's
Almost.
between 1 and 2.
Gasp. So yeah.
So a 2-year-old and a new-year-old.
And a new-year-old, yeah.
I think that's the official term. 2 years apart, that's your sister. You have a sister and a brother?
Yep. Yeah. She's 4 years older and my brother's 4 years younger. So I'm the true middle kid, which is probably why I went into the arts.
Your poor parents.
Yeah,
they had
I know.
8 years. So they had someone graduating high school and then somebody that was like just getting out of 5th grade or something like that.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I'm shocked you said that. You're the only one that has said that. But my mom used to be like, God, why do we do that? It was hell going through high school for 12 years straight.
Yeah.
There was really no overlap very much.
What did your mom not like about high school? And I know this is a show about Upper Midwest movie debates. It's the interview section.
Oh gosh, I just think it's just because my siblings and I are all super, super different, and I love them a lot. We're very close, but I think trying to become an adult, your trajectory is always just like vastly different. And there's so much going on and everything becomes a lot more high stake when you're a teen. And so I think she just was kicking herself that it was just a longer period of time where it was the grade thing and the being a teen, and she goes, it just felt like it was never ending. And it was obviously, we all went to the same high school, so it was like the same teachers, which some were lovely, some were not, like every school. And so it was kind of that journey was super different for all 4. So she kept thinking it'd go by faster when the next kid would go in, and it just didn't.
Right. So did it get longer for her then?
Yeah, it did actually. Yeah, for sure. Because my siblings and I all had super different high school experiences. So.
Why is that? Wait, okay. High school never ends, according to Bowling for Soup. Who were you in high school?
I was the theater kid, 100%. Yeah. Shocker, huh?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the one that I used to be taking like 9 dance classes a week.
Whoa.
And then, that was what most of my childhood was. No one told me to do that. I wanted to. And then when I got into high school, I switched to did show choir and theater and every theater and musical show. And so I had to cut down some of the dance. But essentially I was like up into the wee hours trying to just complete my homework, on the basic level, just to make sure, because I was a pretty studious kid. So, I needed to get good grades. And that was even just my own thing I was saying. And so juggling that plus all the extracurriculars, I was a crazy lady.
So you were Lea Michele on Glee, is what you're saying?
Ew.
What?
Was the character Rachel?
Yeah.
I want to prove that I watched Glee.
I'm impressed. I think I watched a little bit of it, but then, my young self was like, it's not the same. It's so different. Because they would always switch it up and do these cool new numbers, but we stuck with the same show.
All season?
The whole time.
And you didn't get new outfits and then build sets that then got bigger?
No, we didn't have that money.
Are you from the Minnesota?
I am from the Minnesota, yes. So I went to school at Jefferson High School in Bloomington. It was kind of the snobby school, which was hilarious because me and my friends were just very much not. So, for being theater kids, you think they would, but I think I was like the least dramatic drama student.
Oh, wow, that's
ironic.
I'd like to self-proclaim it. I don't know, drama just bugs me. I don't care. The negative one, just like the tea that people love and stuff like that. I don't know.
And the next thing I was gonna ask you was to spill tea on the local community. I'm obviously kidding.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well then, perfect. You're in luck. I have a whole slew. No, I'm notorious for being out of the loop. So even if you want that in any other category, unless it's I don't know, some Shakespeare play stuff, maybe I'll have some tea.
Wait, are the Shakespeare performers in town? Do they? Is there gossip about the local Shakespeare performers in the Twin Cities?
Oh, see, you mistook what I said. I meant as in Shakespearean lore.
Yes,
and
I did mistake
who wrote it, or was it just Charles Marlowe, or no? I'm being a nerd. No, I don't. I'm very out of the theater community. I have friends that are still in it, like Carl Swanson, that you had on.
I know him.
I do know him. Yeah.
He's been in my house multiple times.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's super cool. So I have friends that are still in the theater community, but the last theater show I did was pre-pandemic.
Oh,
so
wow.
Switched to mostly all on camera and voiceover and commercial and stuff like that. So
was that economic decision, or were there other factors that went into making the decision to move more to screen versus stage?
It's really interesting. It's a mixture of both for sure, but I think it stemmed from the fact that I trained in dramatic, mostly theater. I trained got my BFA in acting in general, and I worked in the classics a lot and some contemporary. But when I got back to Minneapolis, there's a bunch of different theater companies. We have a whole lot, and a lot of them were doing a lot of musicals, which I did do as well. So I would, book a few musicals here and there, and those were awesome. And those would get the best return on investment in the community because they have the most audience support. A lot of the older folk enjoy a good classic 50s musical, 60s musical. And those, they cost more money to make, but they also get a lot more return on their investment, typically in productions. So what I noticed is I was noticing theater companies having to shift more and more to not doing as many either brand new or quirky or off the cuff type dramatic plays, or even contemporary or Shakespeare or Chekhov. They were leaning away from that and either only having to do one a year or not being sustainable, or switching into musical theater, which I still very much enjoy, but my favorite is slice of life family drama, cut the front off of a house and see how they interact. Really dark material is what I really enjoy diving into. And so it kind of naturally started happening where I started getting more and more on camera training because I realized the stories that I wanted to tell were more prevalent on camera. And you would have asked me, I don't know, a decade ago, if I would have been in a film actor, and I would have been like, hell no. I love stage, and that's, but I realized pretty quickly that a lot of the stories that I really liked ended up being on camera as well. And especially post COVID, even big theaters like the Guthrie, it's not a dig at them at all, but they're doing musicals too, at least one a year now, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's, you get more butts in seats when there's some singing and dancing. So yeah, that was the big shift for me, was economically. I knew I was more likely to make a living, as well as getting to tell the stories selfishly, diving into some of the darker, more psychological roles that I was missing doing.
I want to know who Charles Marlowe is, because you said that name earlier, and I followed everything else, but I'm also stuck on whether or not you meant pretty comma studious or pretty modifying studious, but I'm pretty sure you meant pretty modifying studious.
Yes. So
Wow. Grammar lesson.
Yes.
No, I'm just saying what I was distracted by. Like, these are the things she's been looking at me thinking, what's he thinking right now? Is he taking in? You're looking up Charles Marlowe. I take it.
Yes, just to make sure that it is Charles Marlowe. Yes, okay. So I'm making sure I'm comparing the correct scholar. So Christopher Marlowe, there's an interesting relationship between him and William Shakespeare, where some people believe that Shakespeare did not write his own works and stole things from the other playwright, Christopher Marlowe. There's a whole lore behind it, and part of me gets, I want to live in my ignorance a little bit, because I'd like to think there were so many people writing at the time, and it's such not all the things are documented quite well, and it's really interesting. If you go into any conspiracy theory about Shakespeare, I haven't done it for probably years, but if you look into it, there's either movies, but there's a lot of lore around it. And so one of the main is people thought that, Christopher Marlowe was not as well-versed literally, and articulate as William Shakespeare, but then some people say that Shakespeare took his stuff and made it better, or just took his stuff point blank. So yeah, it's an interesting, if you're a nerd like me, it's an interesting thing to look into.
What do you mean when you say nerd? Because we had someone on I'm sorry, but we had somebody
versus
geek
nerd,
versus nerd.
Oh.
This is a bait show, so we're not going to debate you on this.
Fight.
I might.
Fight. Okay,
Did you
so...
just get shot through the ear?
Pardon?
What?
Never mind. Keep going.
Pardon? No,
Oh, so you go kiss, kiss, kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fight, kiss, kiss, kiss.
Yeah. I'm trying to cause a ruckus. Can you tell?
No.
I'm baiting for a fight. Me with my muscles, I walk in here so crazy. So to me, I've always called myself kind of all of the above. I've called myself a dork.
Okay.
Often.
Wait, so dork, geek, and nerd, we're
Yeah.
equating all of them.
Yeah, to me, I just say whatever one comes into my head first. But to me, I just think it's unapologetic passion for something. That's what that means to me.
Oh, wow.
Unapologetic passion is being a nerd.
Yeah.
And do you see any difference between that and being a geek?
I think I kind of relate geek to something that's more what would be like stereotypically related to what people find to be intelligent.
Oh, wow. I would have gone the opposite with that.
I don't know.
I'm excited to get an alternative opinion.
I don't know. When I think of geek, I just think of ultra studious, maybe people who, where it's more, maybe it's more on the scientific end. I think just culturally, I feel like I've heard it more so related to, I don't know, maybe geek is, look at the things you're making me contemplate.
Well, I always thought it was like, the tech side, isn't it? Like they're smart on the software, the hardware.
Tech geek. Yeah. I think of like the Best Buy.
Yeah.
Geek Squad.
Geek Squad.
You know? So I guess I don't call I would call myself dork and nerd before I'd call myself a geek. Because
what's a dork? Besides a whale's penis, I know that.
Yeah,
Oh,
wow.
I didn't.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Fun fact. I hope so, because if not, that was a derail.
I'm pretty sure it means... But sorry, what is a dork?
To me, I don't know. I would say the same verbiage as a nerd. The unapologetic passion for something. I call myself a dork often. I self-prescribed.
I mean, it's certainly a nice way to look at it, for sure.
Well,
Passionate.
it's also, my mom taught me and my siblings that really young. If someone calls you something like nerd, geek, dork, or they're like, they say something, she's like, just take it as a compliment, which is kind of silly, but if you're a little bit unconventional, like myself, it's interesting if people want to, try to insult you with something as silly as that, you might as well just take it as you're unique and who cares.
Who is insulting you out here? Who are your enemies? I know who my enemies are.
Who are my
describe
enemies?
the type
Like out of high
of
school?
enemy you would have in the world and work that you do.
Oh gosh.
Like you seem to have a good sense of self. And I'm not trying to be totally philosophical here, but like, just Batman is defined by his enemies. You're Batman. Who are your enemies? Who's your Joker? Who's your Two-Face?
Honestly, this is gonna make me sound so like cliche though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people that put other people down, people that demean other people for lack of knowledge or being green.
Being green as in new?
As in new.
Okay.
People who are not healthy enough communicators or openly vulnerable enough to try to have a conversation, as opposed to just jumping to, being angry with someone. Those are, some people it's just in their being, and some people it's something they grow through, or they're, maybe not in a great space. I don't think all of those people are necessarily my enemy, but it's pretty prevalent in the arts. Things can get pretty heated, I think, trying to make something from nothing. And, there's a lot of emotion as well as a lot of money on the line. And to me, as much as I love every aspect of being able to create art, I understand that in order for me to do this, I need to understand it as a business as well. And so you need to be smart about the company you keep, and you know that you will not always work with your best friends, but understanding how to have that, mutual respect for different positions and people that, have a different journey than you. And if that means sometimes people are maybe don't interact with people the way in which you would. To me, the enemy line, or as you say, if I were to put enemy in a verbiage, it would be somebody who is not being the collaborator that they could be, and preventing, the good stuff from happening. And that's not to say somebody who's sticking up for something that's going wrong, anything like that. That doesn't count. Obviously, if they're thinking that way, they're thinking about the team. So, I don't know. There's a lot of egos in this industry. It's a weird one. So I don't know. Yeah, it grinds my gears when I see people shrink or, go internal because they're afraid that they did something wrong or bad, when they really are just either new or learning or, hungry for feedback, and they get someone that puts them down, or, it's always devastating if I meet with a lot of actors in the beginning of their career here and just kind of help them. I'll consult and just how to get into the industry a little bit here. And a lot of the times I end up looking at their resume and there's like some classes on there that they just charged thousands. And, it's companies that are in every major city that take advantage of, actors, young actors, and say like, this is your ticket, take this class and I'll put your name out there for everyone in LA and New York. And then, I look at it and, oh gosh, it's like heartbreaking. And it's always a conversation of like, do they know yet? Do I have to tell them that they won't be getting calls? Or,
Oh, sure. What classes do you take? Do you still take classes?
Oh gosh, heck yes.
Okay.
I love taking classes. That's like, I don't know, an actor who doesn't like classes, I think that's silly Billy. That's a nice way to put it. I think that's crazy, slightly, if you don't enjoy classes within reason, when you have time, not if you're doing back-to-back things. Oh gosh, I have taken some phenomenal ones at Film North. Huge shout out to Matt Bailey. I'm actually waiting for him to do another one because his acting class was so refreshing. But I did just take 2 acting classes in the UK, in London. I took a Meisner refresh course. I trained in Meisner in college, and so it was nice to refresh on that technique just a little bit. It was crazy. It's been a few years for me. And then I had also taken a scene study course in London when I was there last spring. And so, yeah, I try to keep up. And the last trainings I took were some dialect and accent training for a film I did in the fall. And I was calling up some UK playwright friends and some actor friends to help me make sure my dialect was as on point as possible to not be an embarrassment. But they are so fine-tuned. They are so obviously good at their own accent, but also good at the variances
Right.
depending on what part of England you're in.
Well, how often do you feel like you should take a class as an actor? Like once or twice a year, maybe even more?
Yeah, I think it really depends on what your schedule's looking like. Because there's different forms of training, you know. Sometimes I even will like self-train, like I churn out more audition tapes for things that I whether or not I think are something that I either will get hired for or something that, you know, politely, even if it's not a great script, but I see an audition for something and it's within a certain, you know, whatever. Sometimes I will just churn out the tape to see how can I analyze the text, how can I make this character, how can I take the challenge maybe of script that's difficult, maybe because I don't understand it or something slightly atypical. That's a workout, that's an actor workout. Mm-hmm. And I try to encourage people all the time that even if you don't turn it in, even if you don't submit it, what's preventing you from putting it on tape and editing it and stepping away from it and then a week later rewatching it and see if you do it different, you know, that's a variable. And then there's also, I think, training when it comes to just going on a set, either PAing or, you know, having director or writer friends that you chat with them about their work. That's training. But formally acting class, I think, depending on if you take a short form, like something where it's a one night, or if you take a long form where you're meeting every week, like a scene study or something a bit longer than that, that obviously takes a bit more planning. And because actors usually have a schedule that is crazy up in the air, I find myself always wanting the long form because of the reward of really seeing progress, but also, you know, you have to be reasonable because doing all those long form all year definitely could mean that you'd either be losing out on money or time if you end up, you know, hey, I booked something and it's either I say no or I, you know, have to miss a handful of acting classes. So it's kind of it's the balance, and I just always think there's some form of something that you can do, but I don't have a specific number.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
What's Mesiner? I remember learning that in college, and I can't remember it now. Do
Yeah.
you know this
No
one?
idea.
Okay.
Yeah, Sanford Mesiner. So yeah.
Is that the one where you lie on the floor and like try to become? Am I thinking of the right thing, or is that a different one?
I might be a different one, or maybe every Mesiner lover will be angry with me because I just brushed up on the one beginner class, and we jumped a little bit ahead from where I probably kind of was by the end of college. The actual program is years long to do. It's a lot of word repetition, so it's mostly a 2-actor exercise at the very base of it is where it kind of starts, and a lot of repetition between both actors. It's a lot about kind of the release your inhibition, but not feeling the rain on your skin, you know? It's
you're
about,
inside.
yeah.
You have to get used to being in dark rooms if you want to be a performer.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to quote singing anymore, but it's essentially a big part of it is, you know, seeing yourself living through imaginary circumstances within realism, but you're also you're stifling, which is an inherent thing that you gain as you get older because kids are so free and they're told to be quieter or to sit down or to do this, do that, to adapt to how to be appropriate in the world, right? A lot of Mesiner is trying to get back to your instinct and take the filter off and genuinely react how you would react in the moment. And that was a big part of it when I was really, really young and a super big rule follower and very like, oh, I don't want to say anything that's offensive.
When you were Leah Michelle in Glee.
When I was Leah Michelle in Glee. No, and it was really helpful because there are characters that will not think like you, but you still have to find a way to love and understand them in order to, I think, connect to them. And I think, yeah, I really enjoyed Mesiner. Now I probably just butchered speaking about it because it's been a while for me. I'm actually hoping to like reread Sanford Mesiner's book just to kind of get back to the basics a little bit, because it is not only helpful, I think, with acting, but with writing as well. Because if you, I meet up with a few writers sometimes to consult on like character arcs, because sometimes they're like, I feel like this character is just lost, you know, if it's not fleshed out enough. And sometimes I get to work with cool writers and just banter about their work, which is crazy that people come to me for that sometimes. But it's exciting because then, you know, whether or not it makes them comfortable or uncomfortable, sometimes I'm like, could you just say that person's lines? And I'll just say the other person's lines. And you realize that sometimes the trigger of one person's lines is not actually eliciting the response that they want. And sometimes you can just, by reading it out loud and hearing it, you can feel that call and response isn't natural or it's put on. And I think a lot of that can be played with within Meisner just because you're removing a filter. And instead you end up saying what you want to say or what the character, right, would want to say.
You mentioned writing, and my specific question is I'm not looking at the notes. Is it Visitant of in Paris?
Oh, Visitant of Paris.
Visitant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No, it's
Thank you.
Visitant is. Yeah, you are fine. So yeah, Visitant is.
I'm pretty unstudious.
Yes, he does
Sorry.
both. He does both. He checks his hair and he reads books.
What's that for? Is that yours or is that?
That was mine.
Nice. I like that.
Oh, thanks. Well, you have a little coif hair. Kirk has got some good hair going.
Yeah, it's too straight though, don't you think?
It's too straight.
Yeah, I need a.
Why you need a perm?
Oh man,
Something to give it more fluff.
a
I mean,
Jerry
more
curl.
volume, right? Jerry curl.
you need a Kirk
Something
with
to
a
give
Jerry
it volume,
Get you
right?
some what? I don't even know. Pomade. I don't know anything
Yeah,
about guys'
make-
hair.
curl. Yeah,
It's
it's pomade because I do have a thing.
Because you're pretty and you read.
No, it was related to a joke
knows.
that someone made about Sean Hannity and the Secretary of Defense.
Oh.
Pete Hegseth.
Oh,
It always takes me a minute to remember his name. Secretary of Defense. Lloyd Austin was the Secretary of Defense before him. General Lloyd Austin, I believe, is the correct term. So I asked you, how do you? Oh, the question is visitant. Did I say no?
Visitant.
Visitant.
Yeah.
Okay,
So like you're a visitor.
Yeah, visitant in Paris.
Yeah, it means visitor or also like a visage, like a ghost. It has a double meaning.
Okay, so the question I want to ask is about what do you?
Put your mic closer to your mouth, Cal.
Thank you.
Eat your mic.
Yeah.
The question I want to ask you, but I would hope you'd answer in a British
Trying to be
accent.
subtle.
What? Thank
I
you.
was trying to be subtle.
Sure, I appreciate your subtlety and.
And now it's a whole thing. It's my
Yeah,
favorite.
I have to
I know.
edit this whole thing out. Yeah.
Do you want me to start over?
No, you go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah, start over. I'm so kidding. I have no opinion. Go ahead, do your thing. I just
Visitor / Ghost in Paris. You were writing for found or not found, but like stock footage, and you talked earlier about arcing a character, and your character that you wrote for has no lines in that. So could you answer like how that process developed? But again, if you could do it in a British accent, that would make me so happy since you just practiced
right.
Did you mean like a London
no.
accent?
it. You could just answer the question, then answer it again. In,
You
whatever.
you don't need it both times. The one I just did was more like my friends are gonna be so upset.
Isn't that more like because there's
It's
like
very posh, yes.
Yes.
This one's yes. This one, the one I studied was extremely posh. The one I just did I was in Utah. Yeah, the character was almost in between worlds. So she was very posh and all-knowing. So of course they made her from London Central. But I'm going to probably slightly move into some other accents. But let's answer the question. All right, shall we? It's, I would say, without the dialogue, the story stemmed, I wrote it. And so when I went into the writing, I specifically wanted it to be a universal story that people would be able to understand no matter what language they spoke. Because I felt inherently the story that I was the weird grey emotion of losing someone and feeling close to them and wishing you could ask them questions about what were you like in your 20s or all of these things like, oh my God, they were my age. What if I went to the place that they went? Could I see everything and feel everything as they did? I can't ask them, so I don't know. All of those things you go through. And I just thought it gets so convoluted when you try to explain it. So why not just show it in their eyes and see if, especially the score, the composition, can help carry the emotional weight of some of those grey emotions that are perhaps hard to articulate. Or you could just say that I'm a shitty writer and I decided to have no dialogue. Does that answer slightly?
Wow, that's
could
pretty
you
good.
could you do
You
like
can ask her to do more accents.
yeah 'cause
Oh God.
you know how there's the lady on this season of White Lotus who's got like the Cockney accent? Or is it Cockney or is it like it's like a poor person accent, like what Cecily Strong used to do in several sketches on SNL? Do you remember Cecily Strong? You probably don't watch SNL. I'm Jimmy, and I have this weird accent, something like that.
Oh yeah, if you
yeah.
like more Cockney, I like it when people are I don't know even know if it's like quite cockney because there's some other. I remember being in London this last spring, and there was a lot of. They always say, "Oh yeah, babes. Oh yeah, babes. Wait, are you going to the same club as I am, babes?" And it's like everything is there, but then there's cockney that's really. Oh, I don't know. It's been a while for me to be like really. My whole face changed. You're staring
Your
at me.
posture exchanged. That was the interesting thing.
Yeah.
I was watching Industry on HBO all of a sudden. Have you heard of that show?
No, I haven't.
You would probably like it because you like dark things. You like intense character studies, and it takes place in jolly old England.
What's it called?
Industry.
Industry. I'm in.
Great.
I'm in.
Max,
that sounds fun.
maybe the one to watch for HBO. No free ads. Fuck you guys. Sponsor us.
No free.
You can say fuck to them because it's HBO. You see.
Frack.
Oh, okay.
What about arcing a character in 4 minutes?
Oh my God. I think it was just because it was stemming from real life, these weird gray emotions. I had written this, in quotes, I say wrote because no dialogue, but formulated the script alongside. It was supposed to actually be a comedy, which is funny, and it wasn't supposed to be about what it was at all. I was supposed to meet my friend in Paris that I had met many years ago, and he's a filmmaker, and he said, I want to do a comedy because the first thing we did together was very...
Oh, is he from Spain?
He's from Paris. And he would hate me for making this awful accent. My Parisian accent is horrendous. But he wanted to make a comedy because the first thing we worked on together was a drama. And then, life happens. My grandpa had passed and, thanks. But, everyone's grandparents... Usually, at some point, if you outlive them, they pass. And so, but
my step grandma ran over herself. I'm not going to tell that story now. I just want to leave that for future episodes.
Oh my gosh! Well, that is a very interesting sticky note you left for the future you to pick up. I'm so
not even sure
sorry.
I told my brother that story.
No,
Oh my gosh!
He was a terrible driver.
Oh God!
Learn about it later.
That is wild. That you're like, okay, let's move on.
Oh, sorry.
I wish to listen, but I also want to be appropriate and be like, okay, he doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh no,
Moving
that's
on.
what I'm talking about. I don't think it's interesting at the end of your interview.
Well,
to
oh God!
tell a story.
Well, why not? You do what you want in post, all right?
Okay, I'll do 1 minute. Grandma Shirley was a terrible driver. Didn't put it in park, and that's.
Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Grandma Shirley.
That was
Character arc in 4 minutes. Is that what it was?
I used to pretend that her ghost haunted my parents' house they moved into.
Why?
If the kids didn't clean up, and I'd tell my parents' grandkids, my sisters.
That is life traumatizing stuff, and you know it. Look at now. He's the one wearing the shit smirk, but it's a bit more maniacal than yours, Kirk. Yours
Am I
was
your enemy yet because of what I would do to children?
yeah. What to children?
Yeah, don't.
No segue into speak no evil at all.
Actually, I did have a question written down for you of like, why are you good with children? But please answer the argument question in whatever accent helps you the best.
My own, because now I'm just thinking about how embarrassing. I hope none of my British friends listen to that because they'll be like, what in the hell is that Cockney? And I'll be like, you're right.
Send it to every British person you know.
We're tagging UK. Accent's
UK. So, character arc in that. A lot of it was stemming from personal experience. And it was, I wrote it and switched everything on my director friend who I co-wrote it with, Jeremy, within a month. And I was like thinking, should I not go to Paris? Should I not go overseas? Like all this just happened. My grandpa passed, but there was just, my family was like, Chelsey, he passed. There's nothing you can do. Why would you stop something that you've been planning, almost a 3-month trip for months because of something that, it's sad, but you cannot change it. And so it was kind of the classic, like, artist is going through something, must make art. And so
had you already picked out the found footage by then? I'm sorry.
No, actually, that's all Jeremy.
Oh, okay.
So all of the stock footage was
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I do a lot of Frogman.
I do a lot of found footage, so it's okay. So the stock footage was found by Jeremy, and that was when I came to him with the idea of just this longing and being able to kind of live makeshift life in a day with someone that you were so close with, but in a different variation of their own self, which would have been them in their 20s, to be able to live and potentially the stories that you would have heard. How did that feel if you were to be in that space? And what is the arc of it when you realize it is truly just imagination and fantasy? And because, it's all the cliches. Yeah, time is always moving. It will never stop until you do. All of those things. I felt the arc was just so much of the longing and excitement and just like almost being able to taste the cherry on top of something. And even when you do, there's just this weird bitterness that you realize you're not going to have it forever. And I think a lot of it was just, thinking of family and the people that you love the most. And that was, in my brain, my grandfather. But throughout the script, I remember at times flipping it for other people in my life that were living and just thinking of not having them. What is that like? Not to be so dark, but to just be reminded of how much you appreciate the company you keep.
Oh, I wrote one about not killing my wife, but my wife being dead. So I get it.
Yeah. It sounds crazy, but I mean, artists are meant to feel and be philosophical, right? I mean, not all. Some artists like to make like cat videos, and I'm like, hell yeah to that. The world needs that too. But, for the ones that are weirdos like us,
Well, I'm not a weirdo.
Oh, pardon. I'm so sorry. Do you need me to leave, Kirk?
No,
do you want to take my mic and just start touching it? He's like, get out of here, Chelsey.
I'm the producer, so,
just slap the mic again.
Yeah, but that was another one my mom said. Weird? If you're called weird, that was the main one. She's like, if someone calls you weird, it's a compliment. And I was like, she was just trying to prepare me
for the world
to not cry in front of bullies. I still self-proclaim myself as, weird as well. But yeah, the character arc I think was just stemming from, I didn't know how long it was going to be when we did the final cut. I knew music was going to help drive the weird emotion that I couldn't write, and the rest of it was just trying to settle into the magic of almost being able to touch the something that you wish you still had, even though you don't.
I like time-based movies.
Do you?
I do. It's like creating your own tesseract, because time. There's an extra dimension within a thing that exists.
Yeah.
Did you actually get the tesseract reference?
Well, no. What is it?
A tesseract is it's like a 3-dimensional thing that can change 4 dimensions with inside of it.
Why does part of my weird brain know that? What is that? Is that in something?
I don't think
Interstellar,
they well, yeah, they don't
Kirk.
call it a tesseract.
Yeah, right? Don't they? Yeah, they do call it a Tesseract. Yeah.
No, they'd been calling the Tesseract the Power Stone in Avengers before this.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Tesseract in Interstellar.
I want to ask her a technical question since she's been so philosophical. How did you become a cinematographer? Sorry, I only have 3 more questions in your interview section.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Kirk, you're going to have so much fucking editing to do.
No, it's all good.
Cut it out. Cut it out. Fight. Anyways, pardon. Sorry. Go ahead.
How did you become a cinematographer on Old Wounds?
Oh, yeah.
And what was that process like?
It's crazy that you're mentioning Old Wounds, because that is the whole reason why I watched Speak No Evil, which is the thing we'll be talking about later. That
actually,
is
the
reason.
audience has already heard that before this. I'm sorry. They can listen to it modularly after it's been released. But
okay, well, Old Wounds. I was a cinematographer. If you watch the film, currently it's on the festival circuit, so it's not watchable. It's going to Toronto though, if you want to make a quick trip.
TIFF?
Nice.
Oh God, I'm going to be an idiot. I don't know. There's a Toronto Film Festival, but I believe it's a horror-based genre one.
Oh, okay.
It's a found footage horror.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of my MO recently. There's another one that I'm on that's getting pushed a few months, but in South Dakota I'm on another found footage. So
and
it's
another
kind
in
of,
South Dakota, right? It was North Dakota for Sanctified.
Right.
I know your IMDb.
Yeah, I was gonna say, get it. I appreciate you. You know it better than I do. That's so kind.
Who's your representation? I can no.
You just start listing off my agent's phone number. What? Don't. They'll hate me. If you were to watch the film, I am a cinematographer for T- maybe 5 minutes. So it is perspective found footage, but they gave us, it was very cool, they gave us credit, because technically Frogman, I ran the camera for also 5 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 shots. Old Wounds, I ran it a few times as well, whether that was a handheld recorder, cam or it was my character's phone. It was multi-camera on the found footage. Similar, Frogman is mostly from a one perspective, but there are multiple cameras too. So yes, that was my, don't ever, don't believe cinematographer on my profile. I do not deserve it. Almost always they're like, oh yeah, this is the part that doesn't have to look very good. We'll have Chelsey record it.
But you were a writer on it as well, right?
Yeah, what's wonderfully crazy about that is that was 100% improv, the whole entire script.
Wow. Wait, how and why did you agree to that?
I know, terrifying, right? So Steve, the director who, quote, wrote and definitely directed and acted in, reached out to me and one other actor, Brian Villalobos in Texas, who is a phenomenal actor there. And we both have improv experience, me and Brian. We had never worked together before, but he had, Steve had said he wants to bring on 2 actors that are comfortable in improving in a character. And he had an outline for how this character journey was supposed to go for all 3 of these characters. And so we were writing, in quotes, skeletons. We had a skeleton before I drove out or flew out there to Arkansas where we shot it. And then before each scene, we already had like formulated character type and all this stuff. We would just try to live in those characters, and we only had the quote beginning, middle, end of each scene, and everything else was improv around it. And even so, sometimes the beginning, middle, end of the scenes were not what we originally planned, and we ended up going with those instead. So it was 10 full days of shooting with a feature, which, you have some leeway when it's found footage with perspective and not having to get so many shots. You're not having to get a wide and then an ECU and then a mid, but still, it's a also.
What's ECU stand for? I know.
Extreme close up. Yeah, extreme close up. Up your nose hole close up.
Have you had that happen?
I've had the eye ones.
Okay, yeah.
But not my nose hole as of yet.
You have a lovely nose hole from what I can tell.
Thank you so much. I like to be. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why would you say your ear when you could just, you could say your ear hole or your mouth? No, your mouth hole. It just sounds so much more vulgar, but it's so funny to me. Well, I have an awful sense of humor.
No. I mean, I laughed the first time I watched Americans Speak No Evil. I did not laugh when I watched Europeans Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sidetracked. Sorry.
Well, it's me.
Blowing the length of this.
Well,
sorry,
it's me. You're going to get sidetracked because I do it.
Oh, just wait till we get to the
This whole podcast is tangents, so I wouldn't worry about it too much about it.
Kirk, you're so worried. His smirk has gone away. I'm so kidding.
Bring his smirk back.
Bring his smirk back. Hashtag bring back Kirk smirk.
What are you looking forward to? Yes.
I'm so sorry.
What are you looking forward to? What do you want to do? Give some sort of future-looking thing, because I like to start the podcast asking my latest learnings, but then I didn't have to ask because you just gave them, and thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, a lot of things. A lot of really wonderful things. A lot of friends are making some really great stuff, and I'm excited about it whether or not I'm in it as an actor or any other sort of the world, just because it's exciting when friends are making things. I am on some exciting projects coming up. So Frogman 2 just released their official title, which is Frogman Returns, which is exciting because I'm helping on the producer side, which is crazy, but exciting. A month till production actually starts shooting, then I will drop off the face of the earth and focus on studying backup for the character. But that is coming up. The other found footage that I'm prepping for, production got pushed. It was supposed to be at the end of this month, but it's pushing a little bit more. That's going to be shot in South Dakota, near Rockerville. I'm excited for that. Have a few bigger feature auditions coming up, whether that means I'm involved, but it's also by people that I care about a lot. That's exciting. And then, I have my own personal project that is backburnered just because full-time actor means money forward, commercials, narratives, other things come first. But I did shoot when I was in London last spring, all the exteriors for a short. And so when all the stars align with DP I want to work with, and Jay Ness is directing, and so we got the material last spring, and we just have to get the interior and actual dialogue. We got a bit of that in the UK, everything that we needed, plus a little bit more to play around with in post. So I'm really excited to jump back into that, but that is a different beast of a character. So I'm hoping to give that a bit of special time. Otherwise, I don't know, I was gonna say a nerd again, but now I feel like I'm gonna get called out. But I'm a nerd for it all. I'm like aggressively glass half full. I fucking love this job. I love stupid auditions that are like, what am I even saying?
What's the dumbest audition you can think of? Sorry, no.
Was the dumbest audition I can think of?
That you feel comfortable sharing.
I was gonna say,
it's public setting.
Audition in general.
However dumbest inspires you. My daughters are calling that as stupid the S word lately.
Yeah.
So lately they'll go the S word.
Whoa, really?
Like, what?
Your kids are cursing?
Well, no. When they say S word, they mean stupid.
Oh.
Yes. So now I hear dumbest, and I'm like, oh, the D word.
The D word.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. That's adorable. That's great. Let them keep that forever.
No.
The S word. Why, are you excited for when they turn 18 and you're like, shit, and they just say it in front of you out of nowhere?
I think it'll be before that.
Gasp. No, oh my gosh, my brain just exploded. I'm just thinking the S word.
It's your dumbest audition, dumbest thing you've had to do in an audition.
Oh,
either
gosh.
that you chose to do, maybe not, as to...
I can say something... Oh no.
I'm glad you can say something on the podcast.
Oh, thank God. Thank God I can say something. It's like most of my job. I can say something. I can say the dumbest thing I did in an audition.
Yeah, please.
That was definitely not in the script. There's a lot of things I've done that's been done, but I was training with a coach for acting when I was in high school. I was, mostly in musical theater, and I was learning some Shakespeare, taking some whatever, and I was so caught up in how to be polite and respectful in an audition space. And in my head, I was just thinking okay, you go into the room, and if it makes sense, you shake their hand. And that was so dumb, because I walk into a room one time for a big audition for a stage play. I can't even remember what it was.
Was it a musical?
No, I think it was a drama. God, idiot, Chelsea. It was so stupid. And I look, and there's 7 auditors behind the table. That means 7 bodies about to watch me do a monologue. And you better believe I shook each one of their hands.
Did you make eye contact, and do you have a good grip?
I can remember it like it was yesterday. Awful. My whole body
will
cringes.
You shake my hand when you do this?
Yeah, okay, here.
Let's see
Make sure you pick this up on my mic. So, hi, I'm Chelsea.
Oh, that's a good grip.
No, hi, I'm Chelsea.
Are we going to do this 7 times?
Hi, nice to meet you. Hi. Hi, thanks
4.
so much. Hi. 5.
Wow.
6.
Wow, you have good grip every day.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom taught me good. She's like, you have to not have a loose hand. I feel like I'm crediting everything to my mother today.
That's great.
As I should.
Say
She's
one nice thing
a
about
powerhouse.
your dad. Come on, I'm a girl dad. I need to hear that.
Oh, girl dad. He loved that I did a Western.
Yeah,
What
same
a
vibe.
dad vibe. Yeah, he was proud that I shot things because he was a farm boy growing up.
Yeah.
So when he found out that I was learning how to shoot a Henry, 40 something, and then I got a rifle and a handgun and I was doing all this cool badass stuff. That was interesting to tell my dad about that. He was a lot more elated, I think, than he was for let's say, a target spot.
Yeah.
So that was cool to be able to connect with him on that. Honestly, asking him a few different things about, guns, and I was skinning a deer for it at one point.
Nice.
Have you ever done that before?
No.
With your dad? Oh, I did
No.
that with my dad when I was a kid.
Okay, see
my adopted father. Sorry, we're brothers. The Farx brothers.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I'm totally on the same
Yeah,
page.
it is your fault that I said something wrong.
Yes. Yes, my fault. Yes. So,
I wanted to ask if you hadn't shot guns before. Have you shot guns since?
I would, because the range is really cool, and actually there's a few people in the theater or film community that work there. And there's definitely been roles that I've applied to where I write specifically have training background, but would be willing to continue training to make sure that I was, prepared and felt comfortable. But haven't since. No. but I would totally do it. It is extremely terrifying and powerful to learn about it, let alone also see a nice little light bruise in the pit of your arm from actually shooting one. It's obviously very different on set when you have blanks, but that's like one of the craziest, most exciting parts about being an actor, I think, is if you can play people that are so far-fetched. I mean, I remember Nicholas Swedlund, director of that, when I got the call that I was in it, I was like, I didn't want to question him because I was so excited to dive into this crazy, cool character that was just like one of the boys. But I just kept going like, how the fuck did I get this role? Mm-hmm. You know, I wore ankle weights for like 2 weeks to try to make my stance more grounded because I have a dance background, and I knew my character could ride really well. She was a sharpshooter. She could skin a deer. She knew exactly what everything was. You know, I was like, I need to not look like I'm floating all the time. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's intentional. Okay. That you look like you're floating all the time.
No, it's not. It's just maybe I'm just slowly hunkering down.
Your bubbly personality. Well, Chelsey Grant. Oh, sorry.
How do you float all the time? What do you mean?
It's like I'm not doing it now. I'm like hunched over like a gremlin, but it's like just the dancing posture when you walk around. It's not floating. That's a dramatized version of what I'm saying. But you know, sometimes people I've had people call me out and be like, "Oh, you used to do stage." Or used to, so when I go on camera and stuff, try to be very mindful of how I'm carrying myself. But even so, with characters that have such a physical body difference, like 1890s, only female in an outlaw gang, I feel like, you know, and she's wearing the same amount of layers as the men are, thick ass boots, you know, she just lived different. And so I knew physically I was going to have to make a big change in order to even be halfway believable holding the weaponry and riding, you know, the horses as I was, to even look like my stunt double for The Crazy. There was like a big butte scene that they, you know, had all stunt doubles for. And I was like, she looks exactly like me with the costume, but if her posture is a badass and mine is a little ballerina, it's going to be very different, you know?
Well, last question to wrap up this segment. Who do you think we should have on next?
Oh, no.
It doesn't have to be next, just someone
somebody.
I don't want to set that expectation with our linear.
Oh, you want to know what?
Who?
You should have Lisa Evanson.
Lisa Evanson? Oh, yeah, I love Lisa.
She is phenomenal. We've reconnected recently. We met at the Women in Film, the MBwTFB like networking event over a year ago, and we just connected the last few months. And we knew when we met over a year ago, we'd get along real well. And it's just totally been just this whirlwind friendship. But also, I just think she's an incredible artist. She's funny.
She won funniest person in the Twin Cities. Sorry, I know some of her
as you should. Yeah, I like that you mentioned it. She's phenomenally talented, extremely grounded, and just a great collaborator. Which, you know, and she'd do a good banter.
Gives good banter.
We love good banter.
I'm connected to her, so I can send her this and say, hey, your good friend Chelsey, who you reconnected with recently.
She called you out, and she said, "Get over there."
Get over.
Well, Chelsey, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening. For more on JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.